It's December 25th, 2018. So Tata, you just told us about your joining IIT Bombay as a founding member. You then said soon after your joining, you were sent to the Soviet Union as a UNESCO scholar to do your PhD. What year was that, and talk about how that came about?
In 61, I was sent as a UNESCO scholar to Moscow, and I took 33 months in Moscow to complete my doctorate. In 64, I came back.
How were you selected as a UNESCO scholar? Did you apply for it, or was it something else?
IIT Bombay selects people and sends them in groups to see. Every year they send 2-3 people. They select and then send.
How long did they do this for?
Pardon?
Was the year you did it, were they doing it before you had joined?
1 or 2 years before.
Got it. And how long did they continue this practice?
About 5-6 years.
Excellent. Now, tell me about your time in the Soviet Union. What was it like to be in the Soviet Union soon after the World Wars in the early 1960s?
Yes. Oh, that was a terrible ordeal, I should say, because number one, there are various problems which I had to face. Number one, language. Language, I did not know a single word of Russian language. So I had to learn Russian language right from alphabets before I could start my research in the field of shell structures, which was my choice, and that too to be done in Russian language. So I was given a teacher one-on-one to teach me Russian language, and it took me, of course, I learned it very fast. It took me about 6 months to get a reasonably good knowledge of the Russian language before I could continue with my research. Second thing was weather. Extremely cold weather. About 9 months of the year it was snowing, extremely cold. And the third one was my food. I am a strict vegetarian, and to find vegetarian food in the Soviet Union was nearly impossible. So I had to search out. Well, in the morning, I used to take bread and coffee and go to the institute. In the afternoon, I searched out and found there was known as dietitiary restaurants. That was essentially for people who have got dietitiary problems, and they serve some vegetarian food, some vegetarian soup, some vegetarian cutlet and all that. So I could locate that and manage with that. Evening, I used to come and cook. We were 3 people together, sent from IIT Bombay, and we stayed together in a hotel. Well, we were given 3-room apartment at the hotel, and we stayed together and cooked in the evening and ate.
Good. Let's dig into each of those a little more. So first you said the language barrier. So you said you spent 6 months learning the language.
Yeah.
In the meantime, were you also taking other classes on civil engineering, or you fully focused on learning the language?
Mainly focused on language because, see, even if I attended the other classes, I could not understand much because all the courses were given in Russian.
So as part of the 33 months, the first 6 months was actually mainly language focused, not engineering focused.
No.
Wow, so really you spent the meat of your time was about 27 months to complete the PhD.
Yeah.
Great, so you spent 6 months learning the language, and would somebody come to your home? Would you go to some place in the university? How did it work?
No, I used to go to university, and there, well, in a classroom, one-on-one, a teacher will be assigned to me, and the interesting part of it was, see, that teacher did not know English, nor did I know Russian. So we could not interact freely, and she taught me, took a lot of effort to teach me step by step, and I learned it. It all depends upon the individuals. Some people learn it in 1 year, some people learn it 6 months. Well, I could learn it fast because there was a target for me to fill up. So I did it.
And was it the same teacher for all 6 months, or did you have different teachers?
Same teacher.
What was the name of the teacher?
Bina Bocharova.
Bina Bocharova. So in your language classes, did you learn reading, writing, speaking, all the above?
All of them. First reading, then writing, then speaking.
Why in that order? Often people learn speaking first.
No, I could not speak because first of all I must learn to write that language, starting from alphabets and then words and then speak. Of course, I used to interact with her, step by step, talking few words in Russian language, and she used to correct me, and slowly we progressed.
Was there something that made it work? Because it sounds like if she did not speak English or Tamil and you did not speak Russian, it would be very difficult to actually make this work. So what was the key to making this relationship work?
She used to teach me in Russian language. I used to docilely listen to that, and she used to give me homework, exercises. I used to write it. In the beginning it was extremely difficult. Gradually I picked up, I should say. In attending those courses in structural engineering, you will be interested. I got my notes in Bombay. To start with, I could not understand anything. I used to scribble a few words in Russian. Gradually I picked up, and towards the end, I could write the notes very clearly in Russian language, you see, whatever they taught in the class. Yes. And that showed my progress in the language.
Excellent. So the second challenge you faced was weather.
Wow.
You said it was very cold and it was snowing maybe up to 9 months in the year.
Yeah.
Had you ever experienced snow before or cold weather?
Never.
Tell me about your experience with the weather.
When we had to wear very heavy clothing, thick winter coats, thick winter caps, etc., and then thick gloves and all that. Going out in the street was a real challenge. Of course, there were public transport systems, all of them were treated. So when you get out of the hotel, you just walk to the nearest bus station and get into that bus. Then you go to the nearest metro station, get into the metro and go to the college.
Wow. And third thing you said was food. You said you cooked with your colleagues in the evening. Had you learned to cook before you had gone to Russia?
Not much of it, as I say. What was cooking? I was cooking rice and then some vegetables and something like sambar. Yes.
And had you learned that before you went to Russia, or you learned that when you were there?
Not much.
Were your colleagues more experienced cooks than you were?
No, all of them were equally novices in cooking.
So was it by trial by experimentation?
Yeah, see, we decided like this: 2 days I will cook, 2 days that number 2 will cook, 2 days the third person will cook for 6 days, and on the 7th day, Sunday, we will go out and eat somewhere.
And what were the other two studying? They were also doing their doctorates in which subjects?
No, one of them was in mechanical engineering, other was in metallurgy.
Other was in metallurgy. So you guys couldn't really compare notes either?
No.
Because it was completely different. Had you known them prior to your trip together to Russia?
Colleagues in IIT Bombay.
Excellent. When you joined IIT Bombay, how many faculty members in sum total were there the first year approximately?
About 10, 12.
10, 12. So 3, 4, 5 in civil engineering. And then what other subjects had faculty?
Yeah, another mechanical engineering about another 4, 5. Metallurgy another 4, 5. But that gradually increased, that number increased.
And also the departments increased. And how often would they add a new department?
Pardon?
How often did they add new departments?
How often?
When you started, it was just civil engineering, metallurgy, and mechanical.
No, mechanical and electrical. Then subsequently metallurgy, then computer science, then aeronautical. And so many things came up.
Excellent. Can you talk to me about the Soviet Union in your experience while you were there as an environment? What was it like? What were the people like? What was kind of what was the politics like? Who was, in charge at that time? Give me a little bit of kind of the history of the society of the Soviet Union outside of your work.
Oh, it was a communist country. People in general were very friendly. As long as you are able to communicate with them in their language. They were very friendly. And well, it was out from each man according to capacity and to each man according to necessity. That's the thing. So, well, they were given salaries compatible with their capabilities, and food was very cheap. That's the thing. Yes. There was no question of, well, the rich and poor people in that country, and everybody was given accommodation. So, well, all of them were more or less equal. That's the thing. Even the professors did not have a big mansion. They were also given normal accommodation, like 2-3 bed apartment, and they were given salaries compatible with their proficiency and qualification.
Was everybody in the Soviet Union given housing, or just at the university?
Almost everybody.
So it was all pretty equal then?
Yeah.
How did you feel about the politics? Did you like it? Did you like the environment and the communist politics at that time?
You see, well, people hardly talk about the government and their politics, you see. People keep to themselves, people keep to their activities, you see. The government politics, you see, well, of course, it was a communist philosophy, and the government was ruling the country, but people hardly talk about the politics in general, like the people here or in India.
I guess the question is, do you think were the civilians happy with the way things are going in their day-to-day lives?
I think so.
And did you enjoy the environment?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Did you have friends outside of your housemates? Did you meet other Russian folks and make friends with them?
When I started speaking Russian language fluently, I could just get friends both in the university and outside.
Who were some of your friends in the university?
In the university, my people who were doing research, faculty members, and other associates in the university.
Who were the friends outside of the university you made?
Outside of the university, near our hotel, our friends, see, in other apartments, people whom we meet in the shops, etc., etc.
What did you do when you were in the Soviet Union for fun? Did you have any kind of go-to entertainment activities that you had?
Oh yes, see, there were big shows, see, there was a big theatre where we used to have operas, symphonies, see, and then also things, so we used to go and visit that.
So you would often go to the opera, to the symphony. Did you have favorite composers or performances?
Yeah.
Can you list some of them?
Tchaikovsky was one.
Was Tchaikovsky your favorite?
That was famous, he was famous.
Of course. Tchaikovsky is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Excellent. What did you prefer, the symphony or the opera or the ballet?
Ballet was the best. Ballet was the best, you see. Swan Lake was this ballet. Galina Ulanova was a famous ballet dancer. And
what about the ballet attracted you?
huh? Oh, the way they dance, you see, and the music. That's the thing. Yes.
That's fantastic. So your biggest entertainment activities were going to the ballet, opera, and symphony.
Yeah.
Were there things you did in general just on the evening or something after you would eat dinner?
Usually during the weekends, not during the working days.
So can you give me your schedule kind of on a normal working day?
Normal working day, as I told you, early morning about 8 o'clock, after taking my breakfast, bread and coffee, I used to go to all of us used to go to the institute, work there. As a lunch break, we used to take some food somewhere, and evening.
On the university campus, you would take food?
Yeah, as I told you.
Yep. And then in the morning, you would be mainly in classes or mainly in the lab doing research?
Depends, you see. There will be a timetable. Some days I used to go to the language classes. Some days I used to go to the institute to attend regular courses. And I used to meet my guide. My guide was also a very outstanding Russian professor, but he did not understand English. So gradually I built up the interaction with him.
Excellent. And then after lunch?
After lunch, continue in the institute.
And what time would you end?
About 5 o'clock or so.
And then would you go back with your housemates?
Yeah, we used to go and make some purchases, vegetables, milk.
And was that all near the university?
No, on our way home. It was near the hotel.
And usually you took the bus both ways?
Yeah,
Excellent. And then you would be at home by what time usually?
about 6 o'clock. So
And then you would cook?
cook,
And then eat?
eat, and then we sleep.
And then you would sleep after you ate?
Yeah,
Good. So that was a weekday.
Yeah.
And then on a weekend, usually what was your schedule?
weekend, as I told you, we used to go to operas or.
But that would be in the evening usually, right?
Yeah,
So you'd wake up in the morning,
yeah.
it's usually the same time around 7 o'clock?
Yeah, there were parks and entertainment places. So we used to visit that during the weekend. And then not every week do we go to ballet, but once in a while we will go.
And what other things did you do on the weekends? Were you often working on the weekends or weekends you usually had off?
We will hang around with that. We were not working during the weekend.
Excellent. Most excellent. Any other fun facts or tidbits to share about your Russian experience?
No, during the weekends we used to visit museums, parks, and all the lakes, etc. And then spend time there. Yes. We had bought cameras, so we used to take pictures and then develop those pictures ourselves.
How would you develop the pictures?
Yeah, we had those developers, fixers, etc. We used to.
At the university?
No, at home. At home, we used to have those kit, small kit. That's the thing.
And you would actually make the house dark and basically develop it in a dark room?
Yeah.
And what was your house like in the Soviet Union? What did you live in? So it was 3 bedrooms?
3 bedrooms.
And then 1 kitchen?
1 kitchen, 1 bathroom, that's the same. And, it was heated almost all throughout the year. It was heated, so otherwise we cannot stay inside. And it was a hotel, so that landlady comes and then cleans the room. Then she collects the laundry and then washes it and that returns to us.
How often would she clean and how often would she collect laundry?
She will come and clean.
And laundry as well?
Laundry about 2-3 days. So she will do the laundry.
Excellent.
She was a nice lady.
And you had the same housekeeper all 33 months?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, did your colleagues finish in the same amount of time as you did?
No, slightly varying. That's the thing. The man in mechanical engineering finished about 32 months, and I finished in 33 months. And then my colleague in metallurgy took about 2 more months, 35 months.
And so, in the last time, did he just keep the place to himself?
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. Any other facts you want to share about your time in Russia?
No, I see the thing is we used to get plenty of scholarships. 380 rubles every month.
And what was that? What was the conversion ratio at that time?
There was no conversion. That's the thing is, but it was I must say almost equivalent to $1. I should say, although we could not convert it. So I bought everything I could think of. A huge fridge, some cameras, whatever I could buy. Then I also booked an European tour with that. I can buy tickets with Russian rubles, although I cannot convert it. So after finishing my doctorate, I went around Europe, England, France, Germany, Italy, and all those places before returning home.
Tell me about your family life when you were in the Soviet Union. How did you communicate with your family? How often did you communicate? And how much did you see them?
You see, there was no phone connection. I cannot contact them over the phone. So if I send a letter, it takes months by the normal mail to reach them. So we approached the Indian embassy. Mr. Kaul was the Indian ambassador. So we said, this is a problem, what to do? So he said, every week you can send one letter. You see, put it in an envelope, put Indian stamps, and then give it to the embassy. They will put it in the diplomatic bag and send it to Delhi, to the Ministry of External Affairs. They will post it from there to our address in India. And then these people in India also, they will just write their letters and then post it to the Indian embassy, the Ministry of External Affairs in Delhi. And they will put it in the diplomatic bag and send it to Moscow. So that way, every week, we could communicate with our people and get one letter for every week. That's the thing.
And how long would it take to send the letter? From when you gave it, how long would it take to reach your family?
As I told you, if I send it on a Friday, well, it will reach in a couple of days, because it goes to the Ministry of External Affairs straight away.
Yep.
And they will post it from there, and these people will send it back. By next Friday, well, I will get back the reply.
Excellent. And then how many times did you see Pati and my mom and Chitti in this time frame?
No, I cannot see them.
So in the 33 months, you did not see them at all?
No, in between, I came once to India to spend a month with them. That's the thing.
And were you continuing your research at that time, or that time was a vacation time?
Continuing, but it was a break.
How did you continue your research?
As I told you, for 1 month I took a break and came.
Got it. So you took a break then. When was that?
62, perhaps March or something like that.
So this was about a year after you had gone.
Yeah.